Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Alachua, Florida, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1437. Sitting here in beautiful Alachua, Kastuba.
Yeah,
They
you
really
get there a lot, at least like twice a year now or something like that, no?
It's going to be more. It's going to be more. This place is great. You know, I did a program for the youth yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It was so nice. I was so...
See, this is what you're meant to be doing at your age, right now, just helping the youth, you know?
I tell you, it was,
sharing your wisdom.
You know, I really like to pride myself of being a good communicator, but, you know, whenever you try to communicate spiritual things, it really all depends on who's listening, the demographic. So if you're in a yoga community, you have to speak a certain way. If you're in, you know, a punk rock community, you speak a certain way. If you're just meeting a guy on the street, if you're around a bunch of devotees, you know, you speak a certain way. But a bunch of kids that grew up in a Krishna conscious family, I was completely out of my element. And I like... I turned it into one of those scared straight classes.
Oh, yeah, I went into that. Now you listen to me. I'm going to tell you what it's like out there.
It was like that. I tell you, after the class, my son, Rocco, was in class. I laughed so hard. He's like, Dad, you went really heavy on the no drugs thing.
It's like you're making us want to go out and do it.
I laughed so hard afterwards. The way he was saying, was like, Dad, these guys haven't done anything. They just wanted to read the Bhagavad Gita. And I turned it into this, like, something like, and then the zombies on the street, heroin, their clothes are disheveled and they're lost their jobs. They've lost their families. Who's familiar with addiction here? Everyone's just like looking at me like I'm some nutcase. I didn't realize till afterwards. Like, anyway,
these people are far more evolved than I am.
So much more evolved,
even though they're younger.
But you know, but sometimes your kids grow up in bhakti, but they don't know really that much about the philosophy, or they never.
You didn't want them to be like Buddha, like just like have never seen the suffering of the world. They need this.
Well, they saw the suffering yesterday because I was graphic, and afterwards I was like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. There's just such nice kids. And then Mother Josh,
go back and do another program, and
yeah. But people were sharing. It was really sweet. Everybody was like, you know, and the thing about teenagers is they never like give too much, because you're at an age where you're sort of reserved in sharing your heart, sort of. So they're sort of like giving you sort of a cold stare, and I'm thinking, do they hate me? Am I like the loser here? But afterwards, they were so sweet. Thank you so much for coming. That was such a nice class.
Yeah.
Because they do it weekly, and then there's a big feast at the end. A weekly get together from ages like 14 to 17.
The elders speak to them, or they just get together on their own?
No. There's, you know, it's hosted by Jai Shri Radhe and Manu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really nice.
Nice.
I was really just impressed with the quality of these kids.
All right.
I want to do over for my youth.
Okay, he's gonna go on and on there. He's good. His emotion is his emotion. It's blended into this topic. He's letting go of something, but he's kind of hanging on to it as he's letting go of it.
Scared straight with Raghunath. Anyway, what's up with you guys?
Well, we could generally go over for announcements now. We check in with Mara.
Yes. Mara, how are you?
I'm good. Join Wisdom of the Sages at the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village for our Light on Wisdom training, January 12th through 24th. If you've ever wanted to have time away from the daily grind to learn yoga wisdom in depth and have all your questions answered in a supportive environment, this is an opportunity that you can't miss. Go to wisdomofthesages.com for more info and to register.
There you go.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Our kirtan training is going good too. Our Mridanga school is going good too. Go to wisdomofthesage.com, check out our offering of our wisdom training, and go to my website, raghunath.yoga, if you're interested in a 200-hour, 300-hour, or the kirtan school or Mridanga school. That's all happening January at the GEV.
Hey, just a side note, but I'm just seeing it on the chat board, and I've seen it over the past couple days. We didn't have a show yesterday, but just in that time, the situation in the Middle East, it's not cooling. You'd hope, okay, it's going to cool down maybe a little.
The
No, it just
situation
keeps
where?
in the Middle East.
Oh, in the Middle East, yeah.
It just seems to be getting cranked up more and more.
I know.
And so now you have bombs falling in Lebanon, you have bombs falling in Israel. And we have listeners in Israel, we have listeners in Iran, we have listeners in Lebanon. They're all people that we love, and they're all people that love each other. And I'm just seeing them reaching out to one another, and just praying for the other, even more than they're praying for even though bombs are dropping on their own homes. They're transcending. They're looking at the leaders. This goes back to our question that we had on Saturday and everything, right? But when we look at the leaders, whatever you hear coming from them, it's just like they are not in a place where they're going to be able to find a resolution. They're on either side. You hear people just speaking in such a way that they're so locked in to their way of seeing it, into a particular reading of history and so on.
There's no empathy. There's no hearing. Imagine if you were like, let's sit down and hear what you're going through. It's not happening.
Yeah. So anyway, it's beautiful to see, and I really admire, you're in our hearts, people in Israel, people in Lebanon, people in Iran, people, and it touches me to see you all just caring for each other, even before you're thinking of yourselves.
We have to also give some shout out, love, and prayers to Shanaz Om and all these people in North Carolina and up in the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure exactly. It's a whole area that's
Western.
still
Is it Western
devastated.
North Carolina?
And Tennessee, I think.
Yeah.
If you're listening from Tennessee, give us a heads up too.
Yeah, let us know what's going on.
People have had power out. I mean, even here in Florida, there's still power out in a lot of places. The host family where I'm staying, they just, my son lives in a little cottage, and did I tell you this?
No.
A tree fell on his cottage.
Really?
But he wasn't in it because the mother said, "Why don't you come inside tonight?" He came in. A massive tree destroyed his cottage.
Like really flattened it, or?
Like flattened it. Like not like knocked a window out. Like crushed it.
They're looking out for your son there.
I know. It's like Lord Nrsingadev speaking through Mother Madhurika.
Nice.
Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of pain.
I wonder how
inescapable.
Gopal Nandini is doing. Others out there in North Carolina, let us know.
Yeah.
We got a nugget today, Raghunath. And this nugget even speaks to that whole thing.
Okay. You ready? You want me to read it? Okay.
Who's it from?
It's from you to me, but it's actually from Thomas Merton.
That's right.
Here's what Thomas Merton says. The greatest need of our time is to clean out the enormous mass of mental and emotional rubbish that clutters our minds and makes all political and social life a mass illness.
He's just like
boom,
coming out the gate, like firing away.
Yeah. Without this house cleaning, we cannot begin to see. Unless we see, we cannot begin to think. The purification must begin with the mass media.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, I don't know exactly when he said this, but I think his writings were coming out in the 40s and 50s, especially when, which was at a time when mass media meant newspapers, the radio. Right. Now there's the new thing, this television thing,
The talkies.
And he was so perceptive. Just a beautiful thinker, Thomas Merton. And why don't you share your thoughts on this? I have a bunch of other nuggets from him and something else really important to read. Maybe we should just throw this out. Maybe I should throw this out here right away.
Yeah.
and get your response
What,
to it.
what you got?
Well, Thomas Merton also said this, but just let me read what he says, and then the reason I brought this quote up today is because what we're going to read today is the fall Shruti of the Gajendra section of the 8th canto, meaning we're going to read a bunch of verses that are going to talk about the fall Shruti, the fruit of hearing, the boon, the benediction that the hearer gets from hearing the story of Gajendra.
Mm.
And it describes it. It says you should hear this story. You should meditate on the story every morning when you wake up, and you should meditate on all the details of it, even the details that seemed insignificant. It's saying you should bring your mind to them and then you get this tremendous boon in life. So it's kind of saying like this is what you should wake up and think about.
And what are those details? The details is no matter what powerful position you're in, at any minute a reversal can happen.
There's that, but even the details like the way the forest was described and all of that, like it's saying you should bring your mind to that as well. Like that's what I mean by detail here.
Okay.
Right.
I was thinking the essential
Yeah.
details, but
Yeah,
yes,
well,
those details. What kind of
I mean,
flowers were growing in the forest?
well, that's my point, is that it's calling our mind to meditate even on those apparently insignificant details, which is interesting. We can discuss why we think that might be. But Thomas Merton, he used this phrase, speaking in a similar way. He says 9/10 of the news as printed in the papers is pseudo news, manufactured events. Some days it's 10/10, like the whole thing, right? Then he says this, the ritual morning trance, in which one scans columns of newsprint, creates a peculiar form of generalized pseudo-attention to a pseudo-reality.
It almost seems like responsible. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to check out what's happening in the news. Subscribe to the New York Times app. You know, it's like how to be responsible.
Well, I mean,
check your head. Here you go. You're going to defend it, right? No. What?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying. He's saying we need to be very conscious, right? He's saying we go through ritual morning trance, right, where we just start to absorb. And you know, he's saying we need to take this really seriously. And then you know, where we are right now in terms of media is something that maybe Thomas Merton couldn't have even imagined. Yeah. With the internet, and then you take the internet and you put it on steroids with social media. And we're at a place right now where you have, again, it's like a liberal and a conservative views that are battling against each other. Neither is really like seeking the, like when it comes to what should be allowed on social media. Right. The conservatives are saying like anything should be allowed because there has to be freedom of press. And the liberals are saying, no, like all kinds of devious stuff is going out there and it's going to have terrible effects on society. It needs to be regulated. And nobody who's searching for the balance. No, I don't hear, up until recently, I never heard anybody really saying like, we need to slow down and talk about standards of journalism in a whole new way. You know, I'm sure there are people talking about it and so on, but I don't get so much of that on my algorithm, right? But I heard something just the other day. It was on the Bill Maher show.
Yeah.
And he was interviewing someone named Yuval Noah Harari, who is an Israeli historian and writer and intellectual.
Okay.
And he's a professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And the topic was, should free speech, it had to do with free speech in social media. And specifically the question was, should bots have free speech? Right? Right. But he brought up something very interesting. So here's what he said. He said he says the topic was free speech, and he said there should be no free speech, in his opinion. No one gets a free pass for the algorithms that are now managing our social platforms. In other words, he was saying that we shouldn't restrict the speech of people to post whatever they want on the internet or in social media. But we should hold these massive corporations responsible for how they set their algorithms. And this is why. So he says, there should be no free speech or free pass for the algorithms that are now managing the social media platforms, which are the most important media platforms in the world. He said, we now have the most sophisticated information technology in history, and the people are losing the ability to hold a conversation, to talk with each other, and to listen to each other. He says this is not just a US problem, it's all over the world. And this is largely because we gave one of the most important jobs, not just in the media industry, in the world, to algorithms, which are not regulated and nobody is liable for what they are doing. He says the job of news editors was once one of the most important jobs a human could fulfill. Right? That was the media in Thomas Merton's time,
Right.
like a newspaper editor, right? He says now the most important editors in the world are algorithms. The algorithms that decide what you will see on the news feed in Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or YouTube. And they are given a very specific and narrow goal by their human masters to increase human engagement, to increase user engagement. In other words, they're not set to uplift us. They're not set to educate us.
It's not like, yes,
Right.
the sages aren't programming
us.
the algorithms.
He says, and so they discovered by experimenting on billions of human guinea pigs that the easiest way to grab user attention, now this is real crucial here, right, is to press the hate button or the greed button or the fear button in our minds. That's the stuff we click on. That's the stuff that hits the algorithms. And then you get more and more and more and becomes a snowball, right? He says, and this is what they've been doing for the last couple of years or decades. And this is what makes the conversation almost all over the world impossible.
Wow.
Right.
Welcome to Kali Yuga.
Yeah. This thing that was going to make our life so much better is like, whoa, look at, so going back to Thomas Merton, right? He's talking about, he was looking back and thinking, everyone gets the newspaper in the morning and starts reading this thing, and what is it doing to our minds?
Right.
It's like, this is like so much more, I don't know, dire, or, so much more, our situation is so much more delicate, or, in the world that we live now, with the kind of media that we have now. What is our morning trance going to be? If we're not careful about this, we are going to get sucked into a world of hate and greed and fear. And we're not going to be able to communicate with each other and connect with each other.
It brings, for me, it talks about there is a importance of personal responsibility in what I'm going to consume. In the same way, I'm careful about, the fruits and the vegetables I eat, or the grains that I eat. There has to be some type of personal responsibility for what I'm going to put into my consciousness, because I still have those choices, the sounds that I'm going to hear, the media that I'm going to consume, the books I'm going to read, even what to speak of, the people I'm going to talk to. And I have to have, almost like I need a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
A gatekeeper to really be strict. Sorry, you can't come in.
Let me be your gatekeeper, Raghunath. I think Marika should be your gatekeeper.
Mara is my gatekeeper. She's like, "What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you scrolling through, Raghu?"
Right, we couldn't hear you. Mary, you said something? You're muted.
I said I'm going to delete his Instagram.
There you go. You asked for it.
I tell you, these things, though, they are highly addictive, especially when people, I mean, people find, like, this is a big problem with hardcore types of addictions too. When people feel alone or they have no accountability, sometimes we think, well, this guy lives alone or this woman lives alone. It's a good thing. They get to be peaceful. Careful. Sometimes that accountability is a good thing.
That's part of the strength of the ashram setting, right?
Yeah, you have community and you have accountability. And when there's no community accountability, you're left with your best friend or your worst enemy, your mind. And sometimes the mind can just get very, very lazy and lean into old bad habits. So it's good to have a friend. It's good to have a partner. I love to see so many partners here on Zoom watching the show together, because there's some accountability. and loving accountability, not just like naggy accountability, but loving accountability.
Yeah.
Because whatever's out there, whatever people are putting it out there, it's like they're arranging a whole feast for you. What are you going to put in your mouth out of that whole feast? And there's a lot of great things to consume as well. And we can choose that. And the interesting thing is when you start choosing some healthy things to digest for your consciousness, it leads the algorithms
Yeah, there you go.
to more other healthy things to digest.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I love the way that Thomas Merton used this phrase, the ritual morning trance.
Sure.
Right. In other words, that's something that spiritual people, he's a monk, right? So it's like he sees that in his own tradition. He sees that in other monastic traditions, is that how are you going to use that morning time and how are you going to go into trance? Like what are you going to bring your mind to? What are you going to meditate on? That's really important. And he's looking at the world and seeing everybody's reading these newspapers. That's their morning trance. And we're looking at people scrolling through algorithms and watching TikTok videos. That becomes your morning trance. We need to be really careful about how we set our own algorithms. And you're right. That's the way that algorithms work is the same way that our mind works. It picks up on the tendency that we've started with, and it increases it. So it snowballs. So if we set a positive, and that takes discipline, and that takes self-control, and that takes some determination, as you're saying, it's supported by others when we have some accountability with others, then we can get these positive algorithms in the mind working for us. We can figure out, what do I want to meditate on? What we meditate on in the morning is super important. And so, we can begin to set standards there. And it's something that will carry on throughout our day, and something that will become reinforced, that will develop a taste for, that will develop even a healthy addiction for.
Healthy addictions, yeah. So it starts with that morning rituals, and for a lot of people, the podcast is a morning ritual, but I'm sure they have some other ones. I know at Super Soul we've been doing Bhagavad Gita morning and evening. Bhagavad Gita morning and evening.
There you go.
Sometimes we get 10 minutes in because we're running late, but sometimes we get to sit, go through a whole chapter. But whatever it is, it's just like adding these little pieces of Krishna consciousness to your life morning. And then once you get the morning down, then you add an evening down there too as well. And you really sandwich in your day, and it keeps the consciousness high, recalibrates the consciousness for the rest of the day. And we become what we do on a regular basis. And it's very, very powerful. And if you travel a lot, like right now, I see Jiva G traveling and I'm traveling. And I tell you, just traveling today, even though I gave this class last night and had me and Mara, even as we were driving to the airport yesterday, we were going through our whole morning program songs in our mind. Like that's what we talked about on the car ride. We're singing songs, we're glorifying, like as if we were doing the puja. And so the rituals stay in the mind. Yeah, but I will say, I woke up today and I was like all out of it because you gotta keep on your rituals. So I finally had to just like, sit down and just do some pranayam just to clear my head. Before I couldn't chant properly. Anyway, so it's a test, but every day. And these are the things to grip onto. Our morning rituals. Find a place where you can do them, where you're at some type of peace. Careful with the consumption of the poison, because the poison's now, it's not like you have to go searching out the poison. The poison's getting like shoved in your face. I'm trying to look up a recipe on YouTube. Next thing you know, I'm, Googling, people trapped in caves, and I'm going down that rabbit hole. I wanted a simple recipe to make cornbread. And now I've got like 10 kids trapped in a cave in Thailand,
On the chat board, Jessica from Uruguay.
Jessica. I thought it was Paraguay.
Is it Paraguay?
I don't know.
I think it's Paraguay.
Now we're gonna sound like a bunch of dumb Americans. I didn't even know there were difference between them.
In any case, she says that she wrote, "I'm on a 21-day prayer program with Chapu. It's been a gem so far." Chapu did this thing for Spanish listeners, that she sends out a prayer that you get it on your phone, she sends it out like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Is it in Spanish? Can I do it?
It's in Spanish.
Oh, God. Learn Spanish now just to pray.
Well, maybe someone should do this in English. So for 21 days at 4 o'clock in the morning, so as soon as you wake up, you have this prayer.
That's
These are
great.
prayers taken from Bhagavatam, really good prayers. And each week is kind of like a different theme. There's been I think this week is Draupad's prayers, or at least the mood that Draupadi has. And then what happens is there's a WhatsApp group for it.
Mm.
And then everybody shares that they do some writing, like they sit down for 10 minutes and write something about that prayer and their thoughts on it. And then everyone shares that on the WhatsApp board. It gets everybody thinking about this prayer all day.
Mm.
And then at the end of the week on Saturday, they get together on Zoom and they have like a kind of like a talk on it and some back and forth about it. And it's just a fantastic way to, you know, to get that morning ritual going in a really positive, uplifting algorithm.
Yeah, like, because in the big picture, this is what counts. Where's our consciousness today? In the short-term picture, in the seasonal picture, some people sitting here on Zoom are very safe. Some people are in danger. Some people are sick. Some people are extremely healthy. Some people are dying. So it's a plethora of seasons that everybody's going through. Ultimately, everything is bleak for our material life. The whole material existence is bleak, except if we can hold on to this superfood of spiritual life.
Yeah.
And when tragedy comes, when I'm least expecting it, where will my consciousness go? And that's what we're doing. We're practicing keeping high vibe consciousness in every season of our material existence.
Get that
To
good algorithm working.
yeah. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Good one,
Lot
Thomas
of stuff
Merton.
here. Oh, and I just want to share this one thing because you said about adding the evening thing.
Yeah,
Get the morning thing, then you add the evening thing.
yeah. You got something good? You got
This
a
is
good thing going?
a Mahatma nugget, Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, okay.
He said prayer is the key. He says prayer is the key of the morning and the bolt of the evening. The key of the morning, it's the way you open up your day. It's the, you know, it's kind of, and then the way you bolt it at the end of the day, right? And make that day, you know, seal that day.
Mm.
Open it up in the morning, seal it shut with prayer, with meditation, with contemplation. You know, like that one, huh?
He
Like that.
was a saint
Seal it,
among
bolt it.
politicians, wasn't
All
he?
right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Narayanam.
All right, let's dive in. Ready? Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta parayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke. Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Side squirrel. I've been getting tons of feedback from all the people who've seen the movie. Tom Essig, one of our Zoomers, made Something Divine. It's about our spiritual journey. Tons of feedback. Thanks, everybody. If you haven't seen it, just Google up how to find it, or I think you can go to Wisdom of the Sages, or
Last show's the details of the show.
Yeah,
It'll
the
be there.
show notes.
You can put them in
the what?
today's show notes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing that. It's the same thing. It's like there's healthy media, and then there is horror movies that we grew up with that we're
Well-
still. I mean, do you have a horror movie in your mind, Costa, that still haunts you to this
I
day?
didn't ever really watch horror movies.
Come on, Mara, some type of horror
Mara.
movie. All right, I want everybody on Zoom on the board. What's a movie you've watched that still haunts you decades later? Put it on the board. Thank you. You guys don't play with me, do you? You
Okay,
just like,
I
no.
wonder what you're trying to reset our algorithm back to that. Right? We're not going for
No,
it.
well, no, are you kidding? Blair Witch, thank you. The Shining, no story. Here we go. The Exorcist, thank you. Aliens, IT, Jeeper Creepers,
We're
Poltergeist.
almost at Bhagavatam, Mara. We almost made it.
Oh,
I got
we're
news
so
for you. This is the
close.
exact same thing we're talking about in the Nuggets, sir.
Yeah, I know, but we had it. Now you're getting all
Children
excited.
of the Corn.
Children of the Corn.
I can still
This
quote
sounds
that movie.
scary.
Oh yeah,
Children of the Corn. Like they sound like a lot of creepy kids in the
a
cornfield.
bunch of creepy kids with scythes.
Okay. All right, Bhagavatam. What verse are we on, Mara?
Canto 8, chapter 3, text 13.
Okay.
Man, pull this
Read
without
the
Mara.
verse.
I am like walking around. This are we on?
We're on
Chapter
Canto 8,
Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Text what?
13.
13.
Oh, good. Let's go. Upon delivering the king of the elephants from the clutches of the crocodile and from material existence, which resembles a crocodile, right?
Yeah.
The Lord awarded him status of Sarupya Mukti. He gets the same bodily features as the
Yeah, I
Lord.
think we read this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I guess I'll just read it. In the presence of the Gandharvas, right, the angels, the Siddhas, other angels, and other demigods who were praising the Lord for his wonderful transcendental activities, the Lord, sitting on the back of his carrier Garuda, returned to his all-wonderful abode and took Gajendra with him.
He said, hop on.
Hop on the bird.
Garuda, hop on the bird and we're flying back home.
Let's get out of here. Get out of here. My dear King Prickett, I have now described the wonderful power of Krishna as displayed when the Lord delivered the king of the elephants. O best of the Kuru dynasty, those who hear this narration become fit to be promoted to the higher planetary systems. Simply because of hearing this narration, they gain a reputation as devotees,
Mm.
right? It's
Yeah.
true. You're hearing these stories from the Bhagavatam, you become a
We're gonna
devotee.
think of you as a devotee.
They are unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga, and they never see bad dreams.
And that's a nice benefit there too. But never affect. That's kind of what Thomas Merton was calling. What did he say? The enormous mass of mental and emotional rubbish that clutters our minds. Yeah, that's Kali Yuga. These crazy algorithms of fear and hate and greed. That's Kali Yuga. You wake up in the morning and you focus your mind on this.
Yeah.
You set that right algorithm.
Yeah.
Here he goes. Now he's talking. Now. So Shukadeva Goswami's here.
Yeah.
Naked teenage sage speaking to the king. All the sages are gathered around. He just
I like
told
how
the
we always
story.
describe him as that. The
That's
naked
what he-
teenage sage, just to
Naked-
get
naked
people's
teen-
interest. What?
If he had an Instagram, naked teenage sage. Like a little.
So a lot of
So
traction.
speaker of Bhagavatam. So he's speaking to the king right now and to all the other sages, and he's saying, now he's going to say, as a matter of fact, you should make this your morning ritual. You like when you wake up, do this. He's gonna bring it to that level. Text 15.
Therefore, after getting up from bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, everyone, especially the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and in particular the Brahmin Vaishnavas, should chant this narration as it is, without deviation, to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. You wake up from nightmares, chant the Bhagavatam. Chant the Bhagavad Gita. Chant the holy name. You know what? I tell you, we are diving right into the season of bad dreams, too, because in America, they've turned Halloween. They've turned Halloween into this gore fest.
Wasn't it always?
No, it's coming to next levels of horror and violence and
Really?
yeah, it used to be just like yes. I don't know, truthfully.
Maybe you're just noticing it now, right?
Maybe I'm just a little more cleaner. But you know what I like? Because I do love harvest time and the seasons and the change of seasons.
Don't mix the two up. That's
No,
Thanksgiving.
isn't Sam Hain the harvest season? What does Sam Hain mean, Mara? It's like the day before Halloween, November 1st or something. The idea is this, that it's a beautiful time of year, and we've turned it into this gory, um, uh,
It's always been a
horrible,
fascination with the Tamasic.
horrible visual, ghoulish, and we've got that. You don't have to get rid of that in your life practicing bhakti. We've got a beautiful change of season. It's called Kartik. It's a time where we worship baby Krishna. It's a time for Govardhan Puja. The Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill. It's a time for on Kartik where your spiritual life is multiplied by 1,000. It's a time for extra chanting. It's a special time of year. It's
There you go.
charming.
Okay. Nice.
Sam Hain is the Gaelic festival on November 1st, marking the end of the harvest season. Thank you. Achyuta, beginning the winter or darker half of the year.
Oh. There you go. Sam. Okay, let's continue.
All right.
16.
16. O best of the Kuru dynasty, the supreme personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, being thus pleased, addressed Gajendra in the presence of everyone there. He spoke the following blessings.
Here's the morning ritual.
Okay. Freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of night, early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form, your form, this lake,
Speaking
this
to Gajendra.
mountain.
Yeah.
Huh?
Speaking to Gajendra.
Yeah. The
My form, your
caves,
form.
the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees. You know what? I gotta apologize, Kastuba. I was like giving you a hard time. I was like, you are supposed to meditate on this stuff.
That's what I'm telling you. And what you were saying was definitely right. But by detail, I meant this kind of finer detail. It's calling us to meditate upon this.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
when the chapter opened up, it's like, oh, okay, it's setting a scene. It seems like it's taking a long time to set this scene, right? Before getting down to the message. But we can talk about this. Read the whole thing and just see how detailed. This is Vishnu himself speaking, saying, you should meditate on the lake, the mountain, the caves, the garden, the cave.
And if you were with us a couple of weeks ago, we were explaining all of this. But now it's almost like a little highlight reel of what the garden looked like.
But it's kind of like a guided meditation. He's saying here.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a little yoga nidra.
Picture the bamboo plants. Picture the celestial trees.
Picture me, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the 3 peaks of the Trikuta mountain, made of gold, silver, and iron. My very pleasing abode. The White Island, Sveta Dweep, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays. My mark of Srivatsa. The Kastuba gem. Picture Kastuba getting hit with a pillow. My Vijjayanti garland. Picture baby Kastuba. My club, the Komadaki. My Sudarshan disc and Panchajanya conch shell. My bear, Garuda, the king of the birds. Right? My bed, Sheshanaga. Right? That's the
big old snake.
Snakes over his head. My expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma again, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlad. My incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. My unlimited auspicious activities, which yield piety to he who hears them. The sun, the moon, the fire, the mantra Omkara. That's Om. The absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows, the Brahmins, Bhakti, the wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are the daughters of King Daksha. Meditate on the river Ganga, the Saraswati, the Nanda, the Yamuna, the elephant Airavata, Dhruva Maharaj, the Rishis, and the pious human beings.
The 7 Rishis, right now.
The 7, the Sapta Rishis, they're called, the 7.
So Lord Vishnu calls upon us to not just take the lessons from these narrations, but he's actually saying, sit down and in your mind, concentrate your mind with great attention. That's called meditation, right?
Yeah.
Concentrate your mind with great attention on all of these details. There's something in them. There's a lot we could say about this, right? We could discuss this. It seems to me, though, a large part of the message here is that our path is a very aesthetic one, right?
Sure.
It's like it's not a path to try to empty the mind at all. It's a question of what you're going to fill the mind with, and
Exactly.
therefore the details become important. And all of those details, we're hearing them we're not hearing them separate from Krishna. We're hearing them in relation to Krishna, and therefore they become powerful objects of meditation that kind of anchor our mind in the spiritual energy.
And I think we've a lot of us, if not all of us here, have experienced that. Sometimes we smell some incense and it brings us back to a place, or we taste some prasad, or we see a picture or a deity, and it brings us back to a certain place. Our mind is so cluttered, filled with so much toxins. Oftentimes it's filled with bitterness or resentment or anger or rage, or just like whatever dark thoughts, whatever we're consuming. And because it's Kali Yuga, everything is about murderous things. If you go to Netflix, it's all murders. And so it's like you want to get to this point, like, I want to clean my mind. I want to just clean my mind. I want a peaceful mind. I want to just meditate on nothing. Well, nope. That's not what we're selling here. Bhakti is not meditating on nothing. Bhakti is clearing out the garbage, cleaning out your room, getting rid of all the junky IKEA furniture and putting in some nice, cleaning it out, putting in some nice wooden furniture, it's redecorating the room, redecorating the consciousness. Not that I'm walking around like a zombie with what's in your head? Nothing. I've emptied my head of everything. No, fill your head with beautiful things, beautiful thoughts, beautiful appreciations, beautiful an attraction for beautiful fragrances and beautiful food and beautiful people.
I think there's something about, like, let's say Hinduism, right? But we could say bhakti culture, because what is Hinduism is just so much. In other words, when I say Hinduism, I'm talking about the aesthetics of Hinduism. Like even the crazy kitschy way it plays out,
The crazy what?
Kitschy way,
Oh yeah.
But it's
like
all
crazy kitschy.
It's all inspired by the Bhakti Shastras, by the Mahabharata. It's not inspired by the Yoga Sutras, it's not. I mean, it's certainly there's the influence there, but all of that aesthetic sense in Hinduism is really derived from the Bhakti Shastras, from Mahabharata, from Ramayana, and from the Puranas.
It's colorful. It's actually very sensual. It's not denying the senses. It's re-engaging the senses in something positive and uplifting,
beautiful,
that bring you closer to God.
But always in connection with God, always tied to God, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the same form and beauty, charm, all the different natural aspects of natural beauty. All of these, we don't just say they're illusion. We say no. In this world, they're actually a reflection of the spirit of their spiritual reality. And when there's in their spiritual reality, they're all connected as as enhancing the only important thing in existence, the connection between the self and God, and the love that's exchanged there, right? Everything is seen in that context, and therefore everything becomes relevant and valuable and powerful and beautiful and purifying and satisfying. It's like all of it becomes deeply meaningful. And so we can read Bhagavatam. And I just thought that was just so significant. How he just went through. He didn't even say it like meditate on the details too. He went through each detail, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, like that.
Not just on the lessons.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was going to go to. What is the lesson here? Oh yeah, the world can turn on you in a moment.
That's important too. But we understand those lessons couched in the details, right? So we can finish up this chapter on 2 more verses. Hit it. What's the matter?
Mara, tell the wood guy to go towards the back
Yeah.
back bridge. Okay, that's
I'm
all.
on it.
We're just we're just texting
side
privately
conversation.
back and forth. So we're building a peacock. We're building the chief and the kids are building a peacock.
Building a peacock.
We're
A peacock palace.
a peacock
What are they making out of
palace.
it? The chickens?
The peacock
Some-
palace
and
of
some
gold.
paint?
Yeah, but they're delivering the wood right now. I'm trying to tell Mara where to have them set it.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Text
Okay.
25.
Text 25. My dear devotee, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me prayers offered by you, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives.
Oh.
Yeah. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, after giving this instruction, the Lord, who is known as Rishikesh, bugled with his Panchajanya conch shell, right?
Mhm.
That is Lord Krishna's conch shell.
It must have been powerful when he did it too. It must have been like,
Can you imagine? We were just thinking about the other day when all the Pandavas started blowing their conch shells. It
How-
must have been like, yikes. If you were on the other side, and
crack
hearing
their
it,
hearts, shatter their hearts, right?
shattered their hearts. In this way, pleasing all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma. Then he mounted the back of his carrier Garuda. Imagine just seeing that.
Oh man. Ah, there's some
Beautiful.
prayer. We got to go find it. It's in the Pajavali, which is like a collection of prayers compiled by Rupa Goswami.
Yeah.
There's some prayer there that mentions just like Vishnu getting on that Garuda and then like taking off fast or something like that. We got to go find that.
You know, we have those big herons where we live, these blue herons. And sometimes you don't even see them. They're like in the creek and then they just
Big herons.
take off. And it's like, you just want to like stop and look at them because it's so majestic. Can you imagine Garuda?
Oh, forget about it.
Just,
Would you believe that I have herons in my neighborhood too, Raghunath?
I don't believe it.
I do. I see them.
Those are pigeons, Kostuba.
No, they're herons.
Yeah, I know they're pretty big pigeons, but yes.
They're herons.
Okay, let's get a takeaway. There are no herons, Kostuba.
There are. They're in Central Park all the time.
You ready for some takeaways?
Please.
Take it away.
Bring your mind to Gajendra.
Bring it to Gajendra.
Bring
No
your mind
matter-
to Gajendra. That is a t-shirt right there.
No matter how much power you have, a reversal can happen at any moment.
Know how
Mhm.
much? Yeah.
Don't click on the hate, fear, and greed buttons.
Yeah, because you'll just keep getting more and more from the algorithm.
Click on the elephant. How about that? Boom. That's your final takeaway. Click on the elephant.
What is
Click
our
on it.
ritual morning trance going to be?
It's gonna be
Trance. Give Trance a chance.
but the right
Do I have to think of all these?
Go for it. You're just so good at it, Raghunath.
Yeah. Take responsibility for what you consume.
All right.
Responsible consumption.
Choose healthy, nutritious algorithms for the mind.
Choose responsibly.
We become what we do on a regular basis.
Make sure you
Boom.
do.
Aristotle. Boom.
Hold on to the superfood of spiritual life.
Okay.
Superfood.
Prayer sandwich your day.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer? Is that what it? Prayer sandwich?
Yeah, prayer sandwich. Like prayer in the morning, prayer in the evening.
Oh,
prayer sandwich.
Look
Prayer
at it.
sandwich your day.
Have a prayer sandwich.
Bhakti is clearing out the junk of the mind and redecorating it beautifully.
Oh, very nice. That's really nice.
And
Oh, before you do that, I got
Oh.
this verse from Pajavali about Garuda.
Ooh.
Okay.
Seeing Garuda
Let's hear
take
it.
off. This is from someone named Sri Dakshinatya. Included
Make the
in-
ritual habitual.
I was reading this for your pleasure, Raghunath. I
Oh,
thought
thank
because
you.
you're talking about how cool it would be to see Garuda take off, and
Yes.
I
tell
thought
me.
of you, and then I went and searched this, and I brought it back to you.
Ah, thank you.
And now I'm reading it for you. Okay, ready? So this is from someone named Sri Dakshinatya, but it's included in the Rupa Goswami's Pajavali collection.
Hmm.
Carrying Lord Krishna, undecorated, saying why as he rejects the jewel sandals a military commander offers in his hands.
Mm.
Interesting setting, right? Some powerful commander is offering Garuda jeweled sandals, and he's like, "What do I need these for?" And forgetting that
fit my claws in them.
and forgetting that they are inside the palace. The bird King Garuda suddenly leaves, making a sound like the trumpeting of elephants. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord's swift departure. Wow. It's like, what was that scene like? Inside the palace, this huge bird's flying like at a high speed. I would love to see that.
Wow. Is that it? Was there a last takeaway?
Oh, yeah, no, there's the and.
There's still. And
And
follow, like, and share the Naked Teenage Sage.
There you go.
follow, like, and share.
Naked
the
Teenage
Sage.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami, Naked Teenage Stage. Speaker of Bhagavatam.
It's like thousands of views,
Oh, man, I would follow that one.
millions of like. Thanks everybody for joining us.
We should do, you know what we're going to, we should
do a
start
drama.
trend. No,
You
think
should
about
do a
this.
drama, and you're the naked
Hear me out.
sage.
Hear me out. What if we just gathered like a list of like 100 great sages, created Instagram profiles for them, and just shared their sayings there, and everyone could get on those.
Wouldn't that be great? All right, I'll be Augustia. You can be Poluzia.
Yeah. See what they have to say.
And then, like, what's Poluzia doing today?
This is a really good idea.
Yeah, like, make different IG accounts.
I think we need to
the
do this
sages.
as a team. It's a Wisdom of the Sages team. We need to make this happen.
I want to be Brigu. Who could Mara be?
Yeah,
Mara could
Green
be.
Kunti.
Oh, okay. You could be Sati, the one who jumped in the fire. Would you jump in the fire for me? Just
Why do you
curious.
go there, Raghunath?
It always goes there.
Would you jump in the fire? That is the question that inquiring minds want to know. If you really cared.
He wakes up and he thinks about this every morning. He says, Mara's really great. She's wonderful. She's doing so much for me. She has such wonderful qualities. But would she jump on my pyre?
Jump on my pyre. That is a great t-shirt. Jump on my pyre.
Won't you come jump on my pyre? It's like a good
Braja Sundari Radha, she really loves her husband. Lal Govinda.
She's saying she'd do it?
The question is, would she do it?
Would she?
She says no.
No.
Look, we're not encouraging this. We're just curious. We're just curious. Speak your love right now. The question, Martine says, would you do the same for her?
Oh. Well, you see, Martine, it just doesn't
Well, you
work
see,
that way
Martine,
in the
doesn't
Vedic
work that in a
culture.
patriarchal society. It seems like the culture would try to encourage me to get remarried to one of my many queens. What? Everyone's losing their mind right now. Just kidding. Of course I would.
But you do it for the dogs. You do it for Gus.
Would I do it for Gus? I might do it
Jump
for
on
Gus.
Gus's pyre.
Want to hear something incredible?
Race his burning
Mara
body.
told me. Mara said Gus came up the stairs. This is unheard of. Came up the stairs into her room last night.